Greetings, my name is Larry Diamond. I'm a professor and senior fellow at Stanford University. I'm with the Center on Democracy, Development, and the Rule of Law. I want to issue a warm welcome to all of the participants in the Personal Democracy Forum in Kiev. I wish I could be there with you personally, but I'm glad to be with you virtually and to speak about what can be done through information and communication technology to try and enhance democracy and enhance democratic participation. We're seeing a lot of innovative uses of both social media and applications for mobile phones to enhance participation and communication about political issues. I would encourage all the participants in this forum to think of ways that social media platforms can be used to expand knowledge and awareness about contemporary political issues and to encourage civil dialogue about political issues so that we don't demonize people we disagree with, but engage in thoughtful issues and debate. One of the problems we have with democracy now is that we tend to descend into our isolated and polarized communities on the internet and in our social media platforms, and to consider people who disagree with us as enemies and people to constantly be opposed and demeaned and characterized in very negative and malign terms. And I would encourage people who are participating in this forum to think about how they can use social media platforms to passionately project their issues, to stimulate young people to participate not only in political dialogue on the internet, but political participation in the electoral process without being so negative and demonizing of the opposition. I would encourage people to think about how can social media be used to enhance accountability and to identify where government is both performing well and to give praise to legislators who may be submitting legislation that's enhancing democracy and personal freedom and accountability, and to call out either public officials or members of parliament who are maybe on the wrong side of accountability issues and need to be identified and encouraged to behave in a more responsible and transparent way, whether it's with respect to spending public resources or the policies they're pursuing. I think a lot can be done to expose information and to press agencies of accountability to take their job of monitoring the conduct of government and combating corruption more seriously, and to mobilize youth participation, not necessarily always just to come out on the streets and protest, but to think of innovative ways of advocating for greater transparency and for greater seriousness of purpose to combat corruption. I can't emphasize enough how important the battle of corruption and the struggle for good governance are to the eventual success or maybe, God forbid, failure of this preciously important effort to achieve stable and sustainable democracy in Ukraine. And finally, I want to make this appeal to young people in Kiev. Don't believe at face value everything you read in social media or on the internet. Look at it with a questioning and inquiring mind. One of the problems with social media these days is that people, young and old, read an article and assume it's the truth. And we now know, in part because of what some external powers have been doing, that there's a lot of fake news parading across the internet as the truth, when in fact it's completely invented or distorted. So when you read some news on social media that looks sensational, looks questionable, that is from a source you may not know, navigate around it and check out the sources. Try and do some searches to see who these people are and do some critical evaluation and reasoning to be a more thoughtful and responsible democratic citizen.